Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. I am on Google Podcast and Spotify, whichever one you're listening on, doesn't matter. So today I'm going to be covering a lot of football, basically no other sport. Alright. I will be checking my predictions for the playoffs in the NFL, and I'll see where I am there. Alright, so there were a lot of old quarterbacks going into wildcard weekends. Rivers looked old. Big Ben looked old. Breeze showed his age yesterday. Tom Brady was productive yesterday. He didn't look old. And I don't want to hear about the weapons he had, because the weapons weren't good yesterday. I think his weapons are good. He has great weapons, don't get me wrong. But yesterday, his weapons didn't show up for him against the best defense in the league. Top 5 defense in the league. Gronk, 1 catch, 14 yards. AB, 1 catch, 10 yards. Godwin, 4 catch, 34 yards. Evans, 1 catch for 3 yards. He found other people. He made it work. That is incredible. Like, this shows that Brady was even more impressive than we thought he was. Cam Newton's talented, but they didn't work without Brady. It's Brady. You know, Brady is the system. And we always knew this, but now we know it for sure. So, I mean, this is an incredible accomplishment for him, because this is the best overall roster on paper in the league. They got a top 3 coach. They got a legendary quarterback. They got a top 5 defense. They got Michael Thomas, who is a good receiver, and they got a top 3 running back. And another thing I like about Brady, I don't think he's ever had a good first quarter in the Super Bowl, but he has a legendary second half. That's what separates Hall of Fame from great from good. Alright, so Chiefs outlasted the Browns yesterday, despite Mahomes being out. And let's just face it, Cleveland's going to be around I think this is finally, Cleveland will finally be around for a while. They got the right coach. Mayfield thrives under the right coach. But we gotta talk about how impressive Mahomes is. He had a bad foot. For the entire game. He scored on every drive. And the Browns knew who they were going to... This is just the Warriors with Kevin Durant. The Browns knew who they were going to throw to. Hill and Kelsey. They were going to throw to Hill and Kelsey, and here are Hill and Kelsey's stats. Kelsey, 8 for 109. Hill, 8 for 110. And also, Kelsey also had a touchdown. It didn't matter. And by the way, if it weren't for an easy missed field goal and an extra point miss, it would have been 23-10 Chiefs with Mahomes in the game. This would have gotten out of hand. This would have gotten out of hand if Mahomes weren't there, because he had left with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. It would have gotten out of hand. And I think this is the first time in a couple weeks that they looked better. They looked better than Buffalo. I might have to flip my prediction. Even though I know I said Buffalo is awesome. I'm not gonna deny that. But on the flip side, Browns, great. I really like where they're headed. They got a top 5 running back. I think a top 10 quarterback. It's debatable, though. They got the best offensive. They got the highest rated offensive line in the league. They got Landry. He's a good receiver. And they got Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon. They got pretty good defenders. They're in a good spot here. All right, so the Packers, they scored 30-plus points against the Rams. They didn't have a turnover against the Rams. I don't want to sound biased in any sense of the matter, and I'm not biased. So I'm going to flip the script here before anyone starts saying that. So, one thing, not only did this make the Packers look very good, this made Mike McCarthy look like absolute crap. 71 of the plays had someone in motion. They're always moving down the field with the floor, running the offense. Rodgers didn't just get this talented. He had 1 year like this in 2011 with McCarthy behind him. Every other year, it was good, not this good. This is his best year, I think. He was good with McCarthy, but he's popping with the floor. They had all these weapons 2 years ago. They had Aaron Jones. They had Adams. They had the offensive line. They didn't have Jadarius Smith. But they had these weapons on Rodgers' side of the spectrum, and he couldn't work with it. And that's because old coaches are getting squeezed out. And I think it's because young coaches relate to the players more. The young coaches are like 35 to 40 about. And the reason people like them is because the reason people like them so much is that because they're around the same age as the players and they can relate to them very well. And if LaFleur makes the Super Bowl, this will be the third straight year that a young coach on the NFC side made the Super Bowl. McVay 2018. Last year, Shanahan. This year, LaFleur, hopefully. Defense. Defense doesn't win championships anymore. Old coaches are all about that, and unfortunately, that's just not what's happening now. Kansas City can't stop the run. Green Bay doesn't have the best defense either. The Bills, they have a defense that shows up when they have to. The Bucs don't have the best defense, although they played very well yesterday. A lot of these teams have flaws. I think the Packers are the closest thing to flawless of all these teams. It's going to be tough. They can lose to the Bucs because they got a guy named Tom Brady, and anything can happen with him. So I'm not at all sure that the Packers are going to win this week, but I'm hoping they do. This is the fourth NFC Championship they've made while I'm rooting for them. In the other three, they blew a 16-point lead to the Seahawks, got crushed by the Falcons, and got crushed by the Niners. Hopefully we turn things around here. But here we go. Alright, so I'm going to do some recent news here. Alright, so Drew Brees unfortunately played his last game yesterday. And the Saints, one thing I like is they went all in this year. As if it were Brees' last year. And honestly, they're not in a terrible position without him. They have the best GM and a top 3 coach. But honestly, I don't mind that they use up all this cap space to get in win now mode for his last year. They're gonna have to rebuild. Despite how good their coach and everything is, like the Dolphins have a great GM and a great coach, but they didn't make the playoffs this year. So they're going to have to rebuild without Brees anyway. Why not use up all this? The problem with this is they're going to have to hit a lot of home runs in the draft now. I like Brees. He's got a lot of class. He's a classic QB. You know, his story is awesome. He was overlooked in college. Chargers let him go after getting an injury. Dolphins said no. Told Nick Saban you can't take him. Saints took him and he popped. Won a Super Bowl there. Always great. That's my fear with Rodgers. I feel like it's going to be like Brees, you know? He got his Super Bowl a couple years ago. And now, despite how close he gets, it's just never going to happen. Like, a couple years ago, you saw Saints with Drew Brees. They looked so good. They looked like they were going to win the Super Bowl. They beat the Rams earlier in the year. People thought, okay, this is going to be their year. Then boom, heartbroken in the NFC Championship. I know it was a terrible call, but who's to say that's not going to happen to the Packers? I hope it doesn't happen with Rodgers. I hope he gets his second ring. But congrats to Drew Brees on a phenomenal career. Alright, so Josh Allen gets the Bills out of the divisional round. I'm just going to keep this topic short and sweet. I like this. I think the Bills found their new Jim Kelly, Marv Levy thing here. The partnership. McDermott and Allen look like something special. Allen and Diggs looks like a great partnership. Their defense, like I said, shows up when it has to. So, I see 10 more years of this, barring injury. Alright, so, no surprise here. Baker's upset that they lost, obviously. You know, I wish they got another pass rusher. I thought Austin Hooper was a great addition. But they need to get more, veterans, experience on their defensive side. Because Garrett is very talented. Olivier Vernon is a great player. But they need more experience on that side. Because they're in the toughest division in the league. 3 teams in that division made the playoffs. And also, Joe Burrow hasn't played a full season yet. So we'll see what happens when that happens. I'm glad what they did this year. This is a big accomplishment. I thought it would be an accomplishment if they even made the playoffs. They got past the first round. They beat the Steelers, COVID-plagued, without a coach. Baker earned his extension. I'm happy about that. It's just one of those situations where it's just the better team won, you know? But I honestly, I like the Browns. I like where they're headed. Alright, so the Ravens-Buffalo game was not at all what I expected. I thought it would be high-scoring. It wasn't. The Ravens, I thought they were going to be high-scoring all year because, their defense isn't the best, but they got a great offense. They had the highest point differential, but I thought this would be a very good game. But Josh Allen was special, but not effective. I was gonna cover Lamar's playoff career here, because, I think I might be wrong. I think it's way too early to tell, but I think I might be wrong about him. Maybe he isn't Super Bowl winning material. Because everyone has a flaw. You know, Allen... Well, Allen's been flawless this year. Allen can do a lot, but... Well, alright, Lamar Jackson, he can pass the ball. He's good at it. But in his playoff career, he hasn't passed it very well. And there are just people who are phenomenal regular season, just not in the playoffs. James Harden is dependent on whistles in the regular season. He gets them. He gets to the line. He gets 60 points a game. But in the playoffs, it's a man's game. It ain't a boy's game. They don't call fouls as much. They kind of just let them play. They're like, all right, go ahead, whatever. Alex Rodriguez wasn't as good in the playoffs against top pitchers. And, in baseball, you can't make the excuse for an easy schedule. NFL is the only... The NFL is the only league where you can make the excuse